America's opioid crisis, a national tragedy. The opioid epidemic is a public health emergency. It has ravaged communities across the United States. Millions are addicted. Thousands have died. This crisis was fueled by pharmaceutical companies. They aggressively marketed highly addictive painkillers. They downplayed the risks. They prioritized profits over people. These companies need to be held accountable. Their actions have had devastating consequences. Families have been torn apart. Lives have been lost. We can't let them get away with it. We need justice. The Supreme Court had a chance to deliver justice, a moment to stand up for the people. They could have held these powerful pharmaceutical companies responsible for their actions. Instead, in a surprising and controversial move, they sided with Big Pharma. They overturned a multi-billion-dollar settlement that was painstakingly negotiated. This settlement was supposed to help the countless victims of the opioid crisis. It was supposed to fund essential treatment programs, providing much-needed resources. It was a chance for healing, a chance for communities to rebuild and recover. The court's decision is a massive blow to these efforts, undermining the path to recovery. It's a betrayal of the millions affected by this crisis, leaving them in despair. It sends a dangerous message to society and future generations. It tells corporations they can act with impunity, without fear of consequences. They can prioritize profits over people, ignoring the human cost, and they can get away with it, escaping justice while the victims continue to suffer. This decision has sparked outrage and protests as people demand accountability and justice. But amidst the anger, there is still hope. Communities are coming together, determined to fight for what is right. They stand strong, united in their quest for justice, refusing to be silenced. For the sake of future generations, the fight for justice continues. This settlement was supposed to provide much-needed relief. Billions of dollars were on the line, money that could have funded addiction treatment, money that could have supported families, money that could have saved lives. Now that money is gone. Victims are left wondering where to turn. The companies responsible remain unpunished. It's a travesty, it's an injustice, it's a slap in the face to those who have already suffered so much. Section 4. A dangerous precedent, Big Pharma wins again. The recent decision in favor of Big Pharma has sent shockwaves through the industry and beyond. This decision sets a dangerous precedent. It suggests that powerful corporations can manipulate the system to their advantage. It sends a chilling message to other industries. It tells them that they too can evade accountability with enough influence and resources. It tells them they can get away with anything. They can engage in unethical practices without fear of significant repercussions. They can put profits over people. The well-being of the public becomes secondary to their financial gains. They can prioritize greed over human life. The pursuit of profit takes precedence over the health and safety of individuals, and they won't be held accountable. The lack of consequences emboldens them to continue their harmful practices. This is a dark day for justice. The legal system has failed to protect the interests of the people. It's a dark day for accountability. The decision undermines efforts to hold corporations responsible for their actions. It's a dark day for anyone hoping to hold corporations responsible for their actions. The fight for corporate accountability has suffered a significant setback. We need to fight back. We must stand up against these powerful entities and demand change. We need to demand better. We must advocate for stronger regulations and greater transparency to ensure that corporations are held accountable for their actions. Section 5. The fight continues. Holding corporations accountable. We can't give up. We can't let this decision stand. We need to keep fighting for justice. We need to hold these companies accountable. We need to demand stricter regulations. We need to support the victims. We need to fund treatment programs. We need to prevent this crisis from happening again. This is a matter of life and death. We can't afford to be silent. Section 6. Where do we go from here? This is a question that resonates deeply within our hearts and minds. The fight is far from over. In fact, it has only just begun. Every step we take, every voice we raise brings us closer to the change we seek. We need to channel our anger, our frustration, and our passion. We need to turn it into action. Contact your representatives. Let them know that we demand change, that we will not be silenced. Donate to organizations fighting the opioid crisis. Every contribution, no matter how small, makes a difference. Speak out against corporate greed. Use your voice to highlight the injustices that plague our society. This is a defining moment, a moment that will be remembered in history. We can choose to accept this injustice, to turn a blind eye, or we can choose to fight back, to stand up for what is right. We can choose to demand better, to hold those in power accountable. We can choose to build a future where corporations are held accountable for their actions. The choice is ours. Together, we can create a world where justice prevails, where every voice is heard, and where every action